the last class, so we were discussing about, we had started with the new chapter, that is network management. So this is the last unit, network management and security. So network management, as you know, so this network management, if you just see here, so this word you can understand, but from this figure, as you can see, so here you have a network management station, so which is responsible for the overall management of the network, right? So your network consists of, see, various network elements. It may be a router, it may be a host, or it may be a switch, right? So these are, so this host A, okay, this host, so and this router, right? And the different elements, so they're all part of the network, okay? And so here, this network management system, okay, it is running on this machine, right? So it will be able to monitor this whole network, okay? It will be able to manage the whole network, right? So as I have told you, so device every device in the network, so that is managed by this network management system. It is called as a managed device, okay? So it is a managed device, so they are considered as objects, so it is a managed object, right? So in every device, so there will be agent running. So agent is a software, so in every device that is managed, so there will be an agent that is embedded into the device, right? So this agent, so will be communicating with the network management system, right? So it will be reporting, so this agent will be reporting to the network management system about the status of this device, right? So, and so this network management system, so it can give instructions to this agent, right? So maybe regarding the configuration parameters or security parameters, right? So this network management system can give instructions to this agent, right? So after receiving those instructions, so this agent will implement those instructions on this particular device, so that, so the whole network, okay? So that is so every agent will do it, right? So every agent will receive instructions from the network management system, and accordingly, so the agent will configure the device so that the whole network gives a optimum performance, right? So so these things we have seen in the last class. So network management system, what are its functions? So these are different: fault management, configuration management, accounting management, performance management, security management. So these are the different functions that are performed by the network management system. Okay. So managed device, as I told you, router, it may be a router or it may be a switch, bridge, host. Okay. So these are all part of the network. So they are managed by the network management system. Right. So agent, so that is being part of network management system. So it resides inside these devices. Okay. So there will be agent running in router, agent running in switch, like that, right? So within every device, so there will be an agent running. So that agent will be reporting the status of the device to the network management system. So the network management system will have a very good graphical view of the overall network, right? So it will be able to see, okay, whether all the devices are functioning properly or not. Okay, if any device malfunctions, so that will be notified in the, so that a graphical view of the network. Okay. So, and how actually these managed devices, that means these routers and all, how do they communicate with the network management system? So by exchanging the management information, MI. Okay. So by exchanging the management information, so between the agent and the network management system, okay, so they will be able to communicate. So this network management system, so that it can be a centralized system or it can be a distributed system. So SNMP we know. So SNMP it is mainly meant for managing the TCP/IP based networks, right? So SNMP, it is a framework consisting of SMI, structure of management information. Okay, so the rules for describing the management information. As I said, the agents and the network management system, so they are going to communicate. So but what are the rules? Okay, what are the rules for communication? So that is described, this SMI. So SMI is going to describe the structure of the management information, so how the two agents, how the agent and a network management system or SNMP, how they are going to communicate. So that is what is described in the SMI structure. So and management information base. So it is a virtual database. Okay. So it is a virtual database. So that is maintained because there are various devices. Okay. There are various devices in the network and there are various functionalities in each and every device, right? So because ultimately whenever you are managing a network, right? So the network management system should be able to address every functionality in the network. Okay, every functionality in the network, right? So so how to address a particular functionality in a particular device? So that is that information is available in a virtual database, right? So it contains the information about all the devices. Okay, and the protocol. So okay, the rules of data transfer between agent and the network management system, so that is, we call it as SNMP, Simple Network Management Protocol, right? So regarding these things we had seen yesterday. So so these are the three ways of to access MI. So manager, okay, now manager is the one who is sitting at the in front of the. So manager again, it is a software, right? So which is available in the network management system. So this manager and the agent, so they will be communicating with each other, right? Okay, so the manager can send the request to the agent. Okay, so there is a manager sitting at the network management system. So there is an agent running within the device, right? So now, if the manager wants to know the status of a particular device, so then what manager will do? So manager will be sending a request to the particular agent. So after receiving that request, so this agent will collect the information about the device and it will be sending it back to the manager. So here between the manager and the agent, so there runs SNMP protocol. Okay, they will be exchanging the management information, MI, right? And the second way of doing it is manager sends a request to another manager. So a manager responds to another network, let us say. So that is peer-to-peer communication between manager and manager. So then, so suppose a device is having some serious problem. Okay, so normally what happens? So the agent, after receiving the request from the manager, it will be responding to the manager with the status of the device. But sometimes, so it may have to, the agent may have to send unsolicited message in the sense. So if the device is having some serious problem, so without the request from the manager, so the agent may have to report the status of the device to the manager. So in case of some serious problem uh, with the device, without waiting for the what you can say poll message, without waiting for the poll message from the manager, so on its own, the agent will be reporting the status of the device to the manager. So that unsolicited message that is sent, it is called as a trap. It is a trap. Okay. So the structure of management information. So for the rules, as I said, so SMI, okay, it consists of, so the rules for describing the managed objects. Okay. So the, as I said, so there are various devices. There are various devices in a network, and within each device there are various functionalities, right? So to address each and every device and each and every functionality, so we use what is called as abstract syntax notation. One, ASN, abstract syntax notation, right? And so the encoding technique that is used is basic encoding rules, BER, right? So this is the representation of the functionality of the device. So this is the encoding of it. This is the encoding of it, right? So now, see one example we have taken. So the now, if you just see here, 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dot, 4 dot, 3 dot, 1. So what is this? So this is what is abstract syntax notation. Okay. So we will see that one example is there next. So we will see that, right? So before that, so now this the representation of the various functionalities of the device regarding that. So there are several data types. Okay. So there are several data types that are supported by SNMP, right? So integer, okay, octet, string, null, object identifier. So these are the primitive data types. So these are the standard data types. So that are supported by ASN. There are that are supported by ASN. So for defining the objects. So for defining the managed objects. Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay. So ultimately, so the to identify the managed objects. So to identify the managed objects, what do you mean by an object? So object is a functionality of a device. Okay, because we are controlling the functionality of a device, right? So that is those functionalities that the manager is controlling. So they are called as managed objects. Okay. So, and there are some additional user-defined data types depending on the application. Now, this object identifier, so it is a seed here. So, object identifier. So, object may be a particular device within that a particular functionality. So, how do you identify that particular object? So, it is a sequence of non-negative. See, it is very important. A sequence of non-negative integers where each integer corresponds to a particular entity in MIB tree. Okay, MIB tree. MIB tree means what? Management information base. It is a virtual database, as I told you, right? So this MIB, it is maintained in the form of a tree. Okay, it is a maintained in the form of a tree to address every object in the network, every object in the network. So the hierarchical representation, it is maintained, right? So starting from the root, so till the object is there, wherever the object is there, so you start from the root until you reach that object. So the notation, so the dotted notation. So you can see here, okay, this is again the data types, SMI data types that we have discussed already. Okay, see here. So this is, you can say it is object identifier tree. So this is a MIB tree, you can say. So now see here is the root. So this is CCITT, this is ISO, this is joint ISO and CCITT. So then you have, so these are the numbers, they indicate the object identifiers. Now, so within ISO you have ORG, so within that you have DOD, so within that you have internet. So within this internet, so these are the things. So directory, management, experimental, private, security, SNMP v2. So like this, so these are the different objects. These are the different objects. Now suppose if you want to address security functionality, so then what you have to do, you start from the root, it is 1.3.6.1.5. So that is you are addressing the security functionality. Okay, so that's how. So you always start from the root. So then you trace the tree with the dotted notation. So till you reach that particular functionality. See, for example, assume, see here, MGMT management 2. Okay, so this is what is there. Now you just see. So it is further calculated. Okay, so because since it goes beyond that, so here it is represented again. So within management, you have MIB2, right? So here you have, so the various functionalities that you are managing. So it is system interfaces, AT, IP, ICMP, TCP, UDP, EGP, transmission, SNMP, okay, MON. So these are the various objects. These are the various objects. Now suppose if what is this? So 1.3.6. See 1.3.6.1.2.1.4. What actually it is? So here you have to start from the beginning. If I go to the previous slide, see it is 1.3.6.1.mgm2. So it is 1.3.6.1.2. So then within MGM2, so it is, see, 1.3.6.1.2. Then within this, so it is, so 2 dot 2 dot 1 dot, so 2 dot 1 dot 4 IP. That means you are addressing IP functionality. So that means, so the manager, if he wants to manage the IP functionality, so then, so he will be addressing that particular object using this notation. So that is called as ASN notation. Is that clear? Is that clear? Any doubts? So how do you identify a particular managed object? How a manager is going to address, how the manager is going to address a particular functionality or an object. So within the MIB tree, within the MIB tree. So for that, the main thing that is used is abstract syntax notation. So this is very important. Any doubts in this? Yes, any doubts?
No, sir.
So MIB, as I said, it is a virtual database used to define functional and operational aspects of the network device, right? So it is not just identifying the physical device, it is identifying the functional and operational aspects of the device. Okay. So because a single device so may have multiple functionality and multiple operations, right? So ultimately this MIB, this virtual database will be containing all the functional and operational aspects, so which are stored in the MIB database as managed objects. So the database contains an object for each functional aspect. You see here, the database, that is MIB database, will be containing an object for each functional aspect of a device, so that needs to be managed. Okay, it is not just addressing the physical device, it is addressing the functional aspect of a device. So every functional aspect of a device is represented in the form of a object in the MIB database. And this is the last topic, Armon. Now, as I said, as the network grows bigger and bigger, right? So if you have a single SNMP, so then what happens? The burden on the SNMP will be more, right? So now what you have to do is, for that purpose, so it is like a divide and conquer kind of thing. So it is, so Armon is nothing but it is a sort of you can say extension of SNMP. It is a sort of extension to SNMP. So that means, so you are going to appoint remote monitoring. So these are remote network monitors. Armon means remote network monitor. Okay, so remote network monitor. So this Armon is responsible for managing certain sets of devices within a network, right? So these devices, okay, the devices, the managed devices, so they will not be directly contacting with the SNMP manager. Instead, so they will be communicating with the Armon, so the local Armon. Okay, so remote network monitors, right? So this remote network monitor in turn, so will be communicating with the SNMP agent. Okay. So now this SNMP, so normally what it does, it is going to poll the devices. So regarding inquiring their health, what is the status of the device. So now instead of SNMP polling the devices, so this Armon, so these devices, so they will be directly communicating with the Armon. They will be directly communicating with the Armon, so with their respective status. Okay, and this status, so this Armon on behalf of the devices, it will be communicating with the SNMP agent. So thereby what happens? The burden on the SNMP so will be reduced. So the burden on the SNMP will be reduced. Okay. So this Armon uses remote management. So it uses remote management. So the network monitor so collects the information of all the managed devices using SNMP. Okay. So SNMP. So this Armon is working. Several Armons will be working under a single SNMP. Okay. So it reduces the burden on the SNMP. Right. Okay, so fine. Any doubts in this? So this is the last topic. So actually, and one more thing is, so this chapter, it is available as a, what you can say, at the end. So it is not a chapter. It is given as an abstract. So that is what do you call it? Uh, some additional material in the at the end of the book. Okay, your Garcia book. So you can find this at the end. Okay. So, at the end you can find it. So it is not given as a separate chapter. It is given as an abstract thing at the end, right? So from the same book I have taken this. So any doubts? Any doubts? So this completes network management. So now I will be starting with the next chapter. So that is security. So before I proceed with the security chapter, right? So any doubts are there in this network management? Yes, any
No,
doubts?
sir.
No. Okay, fine. So let me
Yes.
close this. Sorry, need to put
Yes,
the doubt
sir.
number. Yes, tell me.
Sir, I have a doubt in the question banks.
Question bank. So question bank, you just call me later now because I need to have set of questions. Set of questions are not available. So after this class, right, I will be having the entire question bank with me. So then you can just talk to me, right? So now it
Okay,
is
sir.
difficult. Okay. So let me open that. So this is security is the 11th chapter, the last chapter. Yeah. So security protocols. So this is also a very interesting chapter. Okay. And so this particular chapter we will be studying it as a separate course, as an elective course in your 8th semester, right? So if you take cryptography and network security, so this chapter you will be studying it as a separate course in the elective course, right? So this chapter, so here we will be concentrating on, so what are the things that we are going to study in this network security threats, right? Security and cryptography, network security protocols and cryptographic algorithms. Okay, so what actually is a threat? So threat means the possible attack, you can call it as a threat. Okay, possible attack. Okay, so you might have a threat that so somebody may hack your system. So that is a threat. That is a threat. Okay, so that the threat may turn out to be into reality. You can't say that, right? So okay. Now, so threats, security requirements, and countermeasures. So network security threats. So what are the possible threats? One is eavesdropping. Eavesdropping. So eavesdropping means what? So A. So normally here, whenever you're talking about security, so we assume Alice and Bob. So these are the standard, what you can say, people. Okay. So Alice is a girl. So Bob is a boy. So Alice and Bob, they are communicating. Alice and Bob, they are communicating. So Turdy. So he's a eavesdropper. So okay, Turdy is listening to the communication. Okay, he is unauthorizedly, so he is listening to the communication between Alice and Bob, right? So that is what is called as eavesdropping. Okay, so without the knowledge of Alice and Bob, so this Turdy, so the eavesdropper, so he is listening to their communication. Okay, then so man in the middle. Okay, so this eavesdropping, see, actually, basically, these attacks, so the attacks are classified into broadly classified into two. So one is passive attack and active attack. Okay. So passive attack means what? So the ongoing communication will continue. Okay. Suppose Alice is communicating with Bob. Okay. So if the passive attacker is what? So he is just listening to the communication. He is not going to alter any messages or he's not going to stop the communication. Okay. So he is just passively listening to the ongoing communication. So this eavesdropping, it is a sort of passive attack. It is okay, passive attack, right? And this man in the middle, it is an active attack. It is an active attack. Okay. So if when Alice and Bob are communicating, so this Turdy, so the person in the middle, so what he does, so he sits in between Alice and Bob. So then what he does, so whatever Alice sends message, whatever the message that is sent by Alice, so he first receives it and then modifies it as per his requirement and sends it to Bob. Then whatever Bob sends, so he is going to receive, Turdy is going to receive first, and then he is going to modify it as per his requirement and send it to Alice. So, but the fact is that see, Alice and Bob, they are under the impression that Alice and Bob they are communicating directly, but they are not aware that so they are communicating through Turdy. Okay, so that fact that they will not be aware about the man in the middle, right? And the client and server imposter, okay, that means so some attacker may behave as a legitimate client, okay, so he's not actually legitimate client, so he is imposting himself as a legitimate client or an authorized client, okay, or he may impose himself as a legitimate server, right? So then denial of service attacks, denial of service. Okay, so here, so can anybody tell me what is denial of service? What is denial of service?
So heavy traffic is been sent to the network.
Yes. Okay. Now, suppose assume that there is a server. So that server, the objective of the server is to serve all its clients, legitimate clients. So, but the attacker, what he does is he sends multiple requests to the server. Okay, and he keeps server in busy in meeting the requests of the attacker. So that means the service of the server will not be available for the legitimate clients. Okay. So that is what is called as denial of service. So whenever a legitimate client so request for a service from the server, so server says, so currently I am busy, so I cannot provide the service. Okay, that's how. Because the attacker has what you can say generated several requests. So from his end, so that the server is kept busy in meeting his requests. Okay, so that is what is denial of service. So then the other things like viruses, so these are common. Okay, so viruses, worms, and other malicious code. So it may so happen that now suppose you receive a mail, right? You receive a mail, so some attractive thing. So if you want, what you can say, some subscription or so regarding some what you can say discount or something, and please for that you please click on this link. So if you click on the particular link, then it may so happen that some malicious code gets executed, and so it may harm your system. It may harm your system. So anything can happen. Okay. So and the main requirements. Suppose you are developing. Assume that you are developing a security system. You are developing a security system. So then, what are the requirements? Okay, suppose as your project, you are developing some security system, right? So then what are the requirements of your project? So what services your security system should provide? So one is privacy it should provide. So privacy means, so whenever one person sends information to another person, so that information should go privately. Okay, privacy, that means, so confidentiality is very, very important. So whatever A sends, it should be received by B only. Okay, so in a confidential manner, no other should be able to make out what is sent. Okay, so then integrity. So integrity is, anybody, what is meant by integrity? A is sending a message to B. So what is the role of integrity here? Alice is
So can
sending
you
them.
repeat the question, sir?
Sorry.
Can you please repeat the question, sir?
See, now Alice is sending a message to Bob, right? So now, where is the question of integrity here? What do you mean by integrity?
So the message may be confidential. So Alice and Bob, they both must not share the message to anybody else.
No, not exactly like that. Is anybody else? See, normally you see Prime Minister or a Chief Minister taking oath. So I will maintain the integrity. I will maintain the integrity of the Constitution or something. So the integrity means what? Integrity. Okay, so coming back to this, Alice is sending a message to Bob. Okay, consider this. Now, so whatever Alice has sent, whatever the message that Alice has sent, the same message should be delivered to Bob. It should not so happen that, okay, so the attacker, Tardy, so sitting in between, so he receives the message from Alice, and modifies it as per his requirement and forwards it to Bob. That means what Alice has sent is different, what Bob has received it is different. So that is what is the question of integrity. Okay, are you getting my point? So the whatever the message Alice has sent, the same message should be received by Bob. It should not be a modified message. If at all the message is modified, so Bob should be able to make out that this is not the original message, this is a modified message. So that is what is integrity. Is that clear? Okay. So the original message sent by sender should be received by the receiver. Okay. So then authentication. So whenever Bob receives the message from, or the suppose Bob receives a message and that message claims that it is sent by Alice. So then, so Bob should be able to verify that Alice only has sent this message. So there should be some way by which he can verify that. So since it claims that it has come from Alice, so he can verify that, he should be able to verify that, so it has come from Alice only. That's what is authentication. So even, so that is sender authentication and even the receiver authentication. Before sending the message, Alice should be able to verify that it is sending to Bob only. Okay, after verifying that if she is sending to Bob only, then only she can send. So that is what is authentication. Okay, then non-repudiation. Non-repudiation regarding the content of the message here, right? Suppose, assume that Alice has sent a message to Bob. Okay, Alice has sent a message to Bob. Okay, so then later on, Alice may deny. Alice may deny. She may say that no, I have not sent any such message. Or even the Bob also. So Alice has actually sent a message to Bob. So Bob may later deny, no, I have not received any message. Okay, so like that. Okay, so that is what is called as repudiation. That is what is called as repudiation, right? So the repudiation means denial. Denial in the sense either the sender may deny or the receiver may deny. Or it may so happen that suppose consider you are talking to your stockbroker, so you might have ordered, okay, so you have asked him to purchase 100 stocks, 100 stocks. Okay, so what he does is conveniently, so that 100 he makes it 1000, and he may say that so you only have asked for purchasing the 1000 stocks. Okay, so that means you have ordered him to purchase 100 stocks, but he has purchased 1000 stocks. So that means the original message has not reached. But so much, so he says you have sent, actually you have given a request for 1000 stocks, he is saying. So that means so he is denying. Okay. So or even the sender also may deny. Suppose you have sent a request for 100 stocks. Okay, but later on, so you may claim that no, I did not ask for 100 stocks, I had requested for only 10 stocks. Okay, so the denial may happen either from the sender or the receiver. So that should be, that means whenever such a conflict arises, either from the sender or the receiver or from the receiver, so there should be some proof which can resolve that, which can resolve that. So this all should be part of your security system. Okay, so suppose, so but that means you should have an original document. Okay, you suppose you have ordered for 100 stocks. Okay, so later on, suppose you are denying, you may say that I have ordered for only 10 stocks. So that means you should have an original copy. You should have an original copy, so which says that so you had ordered for 100 stocks only. Okay, so this all should be part of the security system. This all should be part. Now, this, see, now suppose consider your physical document. Okay, so on a physical document, your deed, something. Okay, if you modify something, so then what happens? So suppose so 1200 square feet, if you modify it to 3000 square feet, so then what happens? That modification will leave a trace. Okay, so yeah, either the rubbing trace or something. Okay, some trace will be left. So that trace will be an indication of modification. But on the electronic documents, so it is very difficult to find the trace. So that is why, so some security measure should be available as a part of your security system. So which will inform that, so this has been modified. So that is done using hashing and message digest and all, so which you will study. Okay. So then availability. Okay. So availability is what? So whenever a legitimate client wants to avail the service from a server, so that service should be always available to him. So that means server should be always available to a client. Okay. So this privacy, so the attack on privacy is, so that means, so privacy is what? Maintaining confidentiality. So it is integrity, authentication. Okay. So this is actually, so confidentiality and privacy, they are one and the same. So these things, so it is called as a CIA triad. So privacy is confidentiality, integrity, and authentication. So this is CIA. So CIA, it is a triad. So three legs of security system. Three legs of security system are confidentiality, integrity, and authentication. Okay. Okay. So then communication channel security, border security. So we'll see that. So any doubts? Any doubts in this? Any doubts? So that's what the same thing that I have explained. So privacy is the information should be readable only to the intended recipient. Only the intended receiver should be able to read it. Okay. So if assume Alice and Bob are communicating. Whatever Alice sends, so it should be readable by only Bob. So in between, if at all the message gets exposed, but so Turdy, suppose he receives the message, but it should not be readable. It should not be readable because it will be in the encrypted form. Okay. So Alice and Bob are communicating by using encryption. So the key for encryption, it is known to Alice and Bob only. Okay, nobody else knows the key. So then integrity is what? The recipient can confirm that the message has not been altered during transmission. Okay, so that's what integrity. That means whatever the Alice has sent, the same thing should be received by Bob. And authentication is, it is possible to verify that the sender or the receiver is who he claims to be. Okay. So if for Bob, so the message, if it comes from Alice, so he should be able to verify that it has come from Alice only. And similarly, so whenever Alice is sending message to Bob, she can verify that she is sending to Bob only. So that's what is authentication. So non-repudiation is what? Sender cannot deny having sent a given message. So that's what, as I said. Okay. So this is, so somebody, so you may send a message, but later on you can deny. Okay. So that should not happen, and your security system should be such that so nobody can deny. Availability is availability of information and services. Okay. So for all the legitimate clients, the services should be available. Okay. This is eavesdropping. Okay. So so this client and server are communicating. Okay. So request and response. So this is a eavesdropper. So this is an eavesdropper. So he is listening. He is listening to the passively. Okay. So he is a passive attacker. He is just listening to what. So, but afterwards, what he can do, he can just initially he will be use passive attacker. So then later on, what he can do is, so whatever the message he has received previously, so later on he can replay the same message. So that is called as replay attack. So which we will study later, right? Okay, so this it is an attack on privacy, authentication, and non-repudiation. So this is client imposter, as you know. So client imposter he is. That means he is not a legitimate client. He is not an authorized client, but the server is authorized. Okay. So the server, so the thing is, the server should have verified whether the client is authorized client or not before providing the service. The server should be able to verify that it is providing service to a legitimate client. Okay. So the imposter can attempt to gain unauthorized access to the server, right? So bank account database. Okay. So all these frauds that happen, so it is all due to, so the attackers, they claim as if they are legitimate clients and they can attack. Okay. So however, the security measures that are taken by the banks. Okay. So it is all due to the, you can say, the ignorance of the customers. So such attacks are possible. Okay. Because if you yourself disclose your account number, PIN, everything, if you disclose, then anything can happen. Okay. So this is an attack on privacy and authentication. And this is denial of service attack. You just see here, here is a server, so here is an attacker. So what attacker does is he attacks with a multiple requests. Okay, so single attacker. Okay, even the distributed denial of service is also there, DDoS, right? Okay, several requests are sent at the same time. Several requests are sent to the server. Okay, now so that server is always kept busy. Okay, server is kept busy in meeting these requests. Okay, in providing service to these requests. So whenever a request from a legitimate client comes, so server will not be able to provide service to that client. So that is what is called as denial of service. So it results in denial of service to the legitimate clients. Okay. So it is an attack on availability. That means the service, the client, which the service that should be available to the client, it is not available, right? So that is an attack on availability. So this is server itself is an imposter here. So it is not an authorized server. Okay. So suppose, because normally it happens. Okay. So normally what happens, like something phishing attack and all, you might have heard, right? So the server itself, you should okay, server itself is fake. Okay, fake server. So now you may if you do transaction with that server, then what happens? See, something like it may claim that it is a particular SBI, assume that. So there is a server. So but there may be what you can say, uh, SBI imposter. Okay, SBI server imposter, right? So if you, as a client, if you connect yourself to that fake server, so then you will be doing transaction with it and all your money will be gone. Okay, so that is why. So what happens? So the imposter impersonates. It's all impersonation. So either client may impersonate to be a legitimate client, or server may impersonate to be a legitimate server. Okay, so impersonates a legitimate server to gain sensitive information from the client, because as a client you don't know that you are communicating with the server imposter. So you will be providing all the information, all the secret information you will be providing. So then later on, so you face problem, right? So all the sensitive information can be received by this server. So for example, bank account number associated with user password and all, right? Okay, so this is an attack on privacy, authentication, and non-replication. So this is man in the middle attack. Okay, so this Alice, assume that is Alice and Bob. So here is our Turdy, right? So client is communicating. So client feels that it is directly communicating with the server, but so there is a middleman here. So this, whatever the client sends, it is received by this man in the middle, and then it is either directly forwarded or it is modified. So it forwards it to server. Then whatever server sends, it is again received by this, and it is forwarded by this to client. Okay, so this is an attacker. Okay, man in the middle attack. So requirements, it is an attack on integrity and authentication, because the message can be modified. The message can be modified in between. So that is why it is an attack on integrity and authentication, because so now both client and server are talking to this middleman, right? But they still feel that they are talking to each other, right? So that is an attack on authentication as well as it is an attack on integrity. So then malicious code. So the server, because suppose because if somebody asks, you will receive a mail and they ask you to click on a particular link, right? So that link may contain some malicious code. Okay, that link has been provided to you by a server imposter. Okay, the server itself is fake. Okay, so if you click on that, so then some malicious code may run. Okay, so that code may contain some virus or a worm or anything. Okay, so the client becomes infected with the malicious code, opening the attachments especially, right? So opening the attachments in the email, executing code from bulletin boards or other sources, right? So anything can happen. So what is virus? Virus is a code that when executed inserts itself into the other programs, right? So it makes the system very, very slow, right? And worm is also a code that installs, copies. It copies itself to in this machine and multiplies it to the other machines. So there are many variations. Okay, So Trojan horse is there. So something. Okay, all these are the examples for verbs. So this malicious code, it is an attack on privacy, integrity, and availability. Right. Okay. So we'll continue in the next class. So till here, any doubts? Any doubts? So the session is going to close in another 2-3 minutes. So if you have any doubts, you can ask. So those, if you have any questions regarding the assignment, so you can talk to me immediately after this, or you can talk to me later also. You can talk if you have any class now, so you can talk to me later, right? Somewhere in the evening around 4:30, you can talk to me. Okay. So any doubts?
No, sir, not at the moment, sir. No, sir.
Okay, fine. So what is the final strength of the class now? How many are there? I'm really worried because initially it was just
34 at the moment.
how many?
34, sir.
30, 34. See, it is very bad, no? I don't know. Why it is so? Hmm? Any reason? Hmm? Arpita, any reason you find?
No, sir.
Hmm? No reason. Hmm? No, what they are going to do then? Because the problem is, the questions are given in advance, so that is the problem, I think. Okay, I think they will be busy in preparing those questions. But these chapters, I tell you, these chapters are very easy and they are very interesting, right? Okay, so you don't restrict yourself to those questions. So you can also study these things. So these are very interesting topics and you can score more here, right? Okay, fine. Okay, so I will close the session. So any questions if you have, so you can talk to me later, okay, regarding the assignment. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you, sir.